Hi, and welcome to this edition of Tech Clarity TV. My name's Jim Brown, president of Tech Clarity, where we make the business value of technology clear. Today, I'd like to talk to you about integrating CAD and PLM. I'm going to share some information on a report that I've recently written on the integrated product design and development environment, and how that can really help companies improve the way they're bringing products to market. It complements some other research that I've done on PLM, but also on integrated design suites and really the future of engineering software. So first and foremost, I think it's important to understand that competition is continuing to get stiffer and stiffer, and because of engineering software, because of advances in CAD and in analysis software, people are able to design products we could only dream of earlier. And we're doing that on a global basis using PLM to help with collaboration and synchronization of processes. So we've really come a long way. But the bar is raising, and what we're seeing is companies starting to look toward simultaneously launching products on a global basis that are actually tailored to unique needs of customers and markets, but also localized to specific needs of a market. For example, regulatory needs, different power requirements, and just different preferences for different geographies. So we're starting to see the need to do this. Unfortunately, the design environments today really aren't able to do that. Most implementations, at least, don't have the ability to really show changes in real time, to allow people to work concurrently on the designs that they're working on, and to really design in context of all of the other aspects of the design as we're designing more and more complex products and design them in complex environments that involve suppliers and different locations around the world. So first thing I think we're going to see in the future systems is more of a real-time view, as opposed to waiting for things to be checked in or checked out and finding changes later. We're going to see more of an enterprise-ready approach where as designs change, we're starting to see those changes much more rapidly. So for example, if somebody changes the location of something in an assembly, we're going to see that sooner. So for example, if somebody's working on a forklift and one engineer changes the routing of the hydraulics, for example, then that may have an impact on something like wiring, and the sooner we see that, the sooner we're going to be able to take those changes into account and prevent rework, and that all just helps efficiency and cycle times. The other thing we're going to see is more of an ability to design in context, and really to be able to set up design context very quickly. So being able to navigate and figure out what am I working on and what is in close proximity to that, particularly in very complex structures. We don't necessarily need everything, but we need to know what changes we're making and how they impact those around us, and the opposite of that, what changes other people are making. And we need to do that not just for one configuration, but for all of the multiple variants of products. For example, if you're designing a scooter, and the scooter has multiple models, a sports model and more of a stripped down model, for example. If you change something like the handlebars or even the brakes, you'd like to know, does that impact the cowling, or does that impact the headlights? And does it interfere, for example, with those different models that may have a different design to them, and not have to look through each one individually. So we're going to see more support for those variant designs coming out in future systems. The other thing we're going to see is much more ability to work concurrently. And I mentioned real-time before. This is actually being able to work on the same design concurrently. So for example, two people working in the same assembly, maybe a supplier working directly with an OEM on a transmission for a piece of agriculture equipment, for example. Looking through and making changes as they go, so one person can see what the other person is doing, to really collaborate real time from an engineering perspective. And of course, reflecting and respecting the security so that people only see what they're supposed to see. So I think what we're really going to start to see is a bridging of the gap between CAD and PLM systems. We're going to start to see more integrated infrastructure coming forward that's more of a platform approach that handles things. So we're going to see integrated design tools, but also integrated into PLM. So we don't have as much of this artificial check-in and check-out and having to leave the CAD system to get designs. We're not going to we're going to not have to go into PLM and all of a sudden switch to a textual view of bill of material. Instead, we'll be able to stay within the CAD system and browse through structures visually in a way that really makes more sense to engineers. So we're going to see a lot more of that integrated environment that is going to be much more comfortable and span the gap between engineering and the rest of the business. So I'd like to end with a few key takeaways. The first is that I think we're going to see a continued evolution where we're going to see the gap between CAD and PLM really start to subside, and really want to see integrated suites of solutions that are really a platform approach that handle design as well as product development in a much more integrated way. We're going to see them really handle concurrency and real-time DMU and in-context design, particularly of variants. We're going to see those things handled in a much more efficient way, and really in a much more enterprise way. In fact, overall, we're going to see more of an enterprise approach. And we're going to see more business data being included into the product design process. We're going to see things like big data. We're going to see information that comes in from social networks, and those types of pieces of knowledge come in. And I think we're going to see people approach this in a couple of different ways. I think some will really evolve their technologies in this direction, but I think others will actually take a more fundamentally different approach and really take enterprise class technologies and put those into product design and development. And I think it's going to be exciting to see. I hope this has been helpful to you. I look forward to continuing the conversation. Feel free to contact me via my website or any of the social media sites that you see. Thanks. Have a great day.